Tom, welcome to the call.
Hey, thanks. I wish I was where you're at.
It's warm. Actually, it was raining just a little bit ago.
Well, it's a hot time of the year down there, that's for sure.
You
But
bet.
I love to come to Australia. Been there 60, 70 times in my life, so I've had quite a bit of experience. Once lived there for almost 6 months when I was building my previous company. So I got to know the Australian people, and they're very energetic, hardworking people and dedicated, crazy. So they're a great distributor for us, and I think now it's going to be to where we're going to blow out. I mean, we're going to blow right out of this whole thing because our company is coming up so fast now, and these new products we have are so sensational that we're going along now. We're on a growth curve going up, and it's pretty significant. So anyway, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, Tom, you know what I was talking to everybody down here. People in Australia, they just love you. They love having you coming down here, and the excitement that we're building with Sizzle. I thought, maybe if we could address having you just kind of explain where you're coming from as far as like the Mowers and your commitment to really building Australia into just a great business opportunity for everybody in the company down here.
Well, thanks. One thing about Australia, it started without us knowing it. And we suddenly found we had, I don't know how many, 150, 130 distributors out there that needed a product. So we got thrown into it. So we weren't ready. We didn't have anything approved. We're doing major work within the company, and we're trying to grow where we're planted. But because of the distributors, I said, well, let's go down there and do the very best that we can do. And so we did. We had the NFR coming in, which was very difficult for everybody, and also very expensive. But we've gotten through most of that now, and I think when Aaron's trip comes down, we'll be really heavily into it because we've got a system going that is just cracking it. In fact, I believe we're going to be the company that's talked about from now on because of what we've got going. The basic philosophy of the company is their number one rule is do no harm. That's in medicine. And it's ours too. We won't use any harmful or potentially harmful ingredients in our products. That mission is still good today. There's some people that are sort of getting on the bandwagon, but I've looked at some of them and they have ingredients in that I would never use, I consider bad. But overall, if our products, tell people the best thing about our products is what's not in them. Now that only has to do with skincare, but also some dietary supplements too. So here's what we've tried to do. Eliminate all of the bad and bring in everything that is not just good, but great, especially with state-of-the-art technology. Now, when I came down to Australia, which was in, I think, 1988 or 89, you didn't have very good distribution, so nobody had a cell phone and all that type of thing. Computers were just getting started, and it was a difficult time to get it going, but the enthusiasm of the distributors carried it through, and they put up with the growing pains you have till you get big enough. Well, we've had growing pains here. We've had the huge recession here because of Obama, but now we've got through that, and now we can get some places like Russia, of course, because that market's gone. For now, we're getting some products in there, but very difficult. And it was doing a huge amount. The fact is, Russia was next to Japan, I believe, for volume. The United States is big too, but Australia was always large and just growing and enthusiastically. So I had great hopes for it. So I went down to New Zealand, bought a plant from Wella, a manufacturing plant, so I could make as many products as I could in New Zealand to get over to Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, Thailand, places, and even some we shipped up into Japan. Then we started shipping a lot up into Russia. So all of that came out of coming to Australia first time. And then I learned to really love the people, love the country. And I think, and same with New Zealand. I think New Zealand is probably the most gorgeous country I've ever been in. But not a big population, of course, but a lot of people looking for, especially in today's world, for another source of income. And more than that, this is our basic philosophy, is that there's three famous Chinese figures, and you can see them all the time, and they stand for health, wealth, and happiness. And if the Chinese say, if you have that in your life, you are going to have a very good life, potential to it. So we're trying to provide all of those types of things. And in doing so, we've created products that we try to create the products that people would just die to get their hands on. Now, we've done some really fabulous, great ones that are selling okay, but not great. Yet the technology in them is really hot. But on some of the others, they're running wild, and the technology is good there too. So what it really takes to put a company into size is momentum. And momentum is simply this: it's the perception of an opportunity. If you can perceive it, then you can achieve it if you're willing to work and do it. That's the key to this. So as I look at what the things are that we've gone through with Australia, with the difficulties in shipping, now we've got an Australian warehouse to supply it. We've got call center. We're going to greatly expand it out now. And we've got our products that are all coming down there. In fact, is the one that's the most exciting is the age pill. It's a sensational product, and we have really got that formulation down well. It's very different than anything that anyone's already trying. Most companies haven't got anything for stem cell support, but the reality is it's far more complex than that. But companies look at it and put a little bit in, make a big claim, and what we want to do is we want to make a big claim. We want the products to overperform that. That's what we got in the age bill. So if you would have thought in my lifetime, and I haven't really had the conception that you could reverse age. I thought you could slow aging. That's how I first got in. And there's products were anti-aging and longevity enhancing. But now here's the potential of growing younger as you live longer. And I buy into that because I want to live for a great length of time at a very young age. And I'm sure you do too. So we can do something about it. But since the body's so complex, you can't put it all in one product. And we have some others that are really great too. So we have brain vitality, which does things for the brain and actually supports long telomeres in addition to that. And if you've watched what I've been posting on Facebook, and you look about curcuminoids that I did, and I've talked about some of the products in brain vitality. It's not legal to advertise that our products can do what the ingredients were tested to, because the Food and Drug Administration and other Ministry of Health, they have a policy that what is not what's necessarily in the product, it's what you say is in it. And the bottom line of that is they're trying to protect big pharma and big medicine because it is so, I don't know if corrupt's the right word, but they certainly are immoral in my opinion with it. And they gouge the public and they give you products that are synthetic because you can't patent the natural molecule. So if they're going to spend, and the Food and Drug Administration or Ministry of Health have extensive testing to get a drug approval. Now, water could be a drug if you said it created some sort of effect. If you just rubbed it on your skin or did something with it. That's hard to believe, but it is. But other products are much more complex, and depending on what they are and they're used for, sometimes they're rare. It's hard to get them concentrations you want, sometimes impossible. But we're going after all that. We want the whole enchilada. And so now we've come out with a product like Brain Vitality, dementia, Alzheimer's, brain degeneration, slowing down, memory, all of those things can be supported with precursors for the brain's own natural mechanisms and processes that are going on. So that's the way we approach it in the brain. And we've got this formulation of brain vitality. There's not anything even begins to come close to it. I'd never be off it, because if you had every organ in your body, what would be the last one you'd want to fail? It'd be my brain. And I'm sure you're the same. So we've got that. And then now we can grow you younger and make you live longer and increase your health and increase your energy and all of those things with the age pill. Then you look at the triangle of life, and I've been publishing some things on resveratrol, the key ingredient in it, and it's just overwhelming the many things that it can do. And then fucoidan for the immune system is, I don't know how to say it, but it's so extraordinary. There's nothing like it. I developed, I think, about 24 patents on it. And really, between that and eternity, I received another 20-some patents on that. And a couple of years ago, 2 consecutive years, they, U.S. Patent Lawyer Association, awarded me with the patent as the most successful patents of those years that I had done. So they had reviewed them, the patents I did, and how extensive they were and all that. So I went there and gave me an award for it, patent of the year. So we patent them to protect the technological process. If somebody goes and buys fucoidan and makes a product, yeah, I have a secret. They may be in violation of our policies, or our patent. And so we haven't been enforcing those, but if we find serious things, we will. But we wanted some of the processes to be patented so nobody else could duplicate it except us. One of those is called sulfonization, where you add sulfur to what's called the fucose molecule. And it forms fucoidans. And there's a number of different types. 3, UG and F are the most powerful ones. But when you sulfonate it, in nature, there's only about 1 out of 8 molecules that's sulfonated. It has to be sulfonated to be active, effective. So I patented a process that actually working with some researchers in New Zealand who helped on this thing, patent a way to sulfonate virtually all of the molecules that are there. That makes it about 8 times more powerful than just in and of itself. Plus, since fucoidan is so powerful, what's the best one? There's a number around. They have it up in the Barents Sea and China and Japan and Okinawa. But most of them are what they call fucoidan U, and that's very good. But we have a huge amount of that in ours. But we also have the F and the G in it, and they have great properties in other areas too. But all of them are being super support for the immune system. So you can talk about these products, go on and on and on. And I'm very happy to it, because the one thing that we found with the previous company is we had created momentum a few times with it. It's very hard to get. Most companies never get into momentum, but we did it 3 different times and grew to become one of the largest in the world from being, when we started, we were the smallest. So with the technological advances that are so great and the sizzle system that we have here to work in R&D, we have one of the largest manufacturing plants in the country, if not the world, for making dietary supplements and even skin and hair care and things of that nature. So with that comes extensive laboratories and process. We have massive buying power, and we make products for a lot of other companies. Many of them that are competitors will make their product. Now, it's not our formulation, it's one they want. And I can tell you what, of all the products we sell in the company, and of course, I'm not so heavily into private labeling, but I'm just really a sizzle guy. But I look at all the products that are sold through the different companies, I wouldn't put one of them in sizzle. The other companies can have them. They're underperforming, but they're overhyped, and I don't want that kind of thing. So one thing you can do is you can trust the science and you can trust sizzle. Because when we find something, we're going to put it in the maximum level, but we're not going to use just one magic bullet. We're going to put on all the things that makes it complete to work. And so as a consequence, if you're looking at something like the heart or kidneys or the brain or any of the parts of your body, you have lots of different factors that are going on. And if you have one that just does one, okay, you get some effect. But the total, if you get this concept, is often greater than the sum of the parts. And the one thing that I think God has given me the ability to do this, but also to understand. And I have it amazes me sometimes how I have the unique ability to see and develop and do these kind of products and bring them out. But the other thing that's so wonderful, you can only work with what you have. And since I started my previous company in 1987, there's about 64 times, that's an average, 64 times more information, in scientific information, than there was when I started. Well, with all that scientific information, it's not on the same old products or ingredients, it's on new revolutionary or combinations to do it. Now, these are so advanced that they truly should be medicines, but we call them complementary natural medicines. That's what the FDA allows us to do. But we can only say it supports something. It supports muscle building, for example. Well, how well does it support it? Well, if you want to build muscle, take some Sizzle Rep. And what it does is it builds muscle without exercise. But if you do exercise, you'll do it at a higher level and you'll gain much more than if you didn't use it. And who doesn't need that? If a person is an older person or a couch potato and their body's becoming emaciated, they can take Sizzle Rip every single day and start to fill out the muscle and the flesh on their bones. And that's never been done before. We've got that. And we got a couple of big steps that are coming out too that I don't want to tell you about. They're so hot for building bodies. But we have a new product out now it's our H2 stick, and it's a powder. When you put it in water, it creates it reacts with water, and it creates diatomic hydrogen. Now, that's created more excitement than anything we've had. I didn't think anything had passed the age bill. This has gone by it because it creates so much energy in your body and it's so healthy for you. So I worked on this for quite a while because we had the water machines. We're still going to get some of those, but the technology wasn't quite what we wanted. Good technology, but it wasn't sustainable because of the suppliers and manufacturers. Now we've got something, we'll have new water machines for you to use. But hydrogen is a unique molecule or atom. It's the smallest atom in the world, in the universe. And it's also H2 is the smallest molecule in the world. What that means, or in the universe. And what that means is that it can go through anything. You see these desks that I have here, steel, it goes right through those. You can go through lead, glass, concrete, anything. Nothing can contain hydrogen because it's so small. It's just like going into a cavern for it when it goes through. Now, hydrogen is really the molecule of life, and it comes down from the sun. Sunlight has a number of, or actually solar radiation is a better word. When it comes down, it has visible light, infrared light, UV light, and different frames within them all. But and they have certain effects of, like infrared is what causes plants to grow. And it can also, you get enough on your skin, you can make your skin grow with this type of thing, and even hair grow with infrared. So there's some great possibilities. But the one thing about it, they can't really truly create energy, but hydrogen can. Hydrogen is the energy molecule of all times. Think of the atomic bombs that have been created. The hydrogen bomb is by far the most powerful. They all work on the same principles, But the hydrogen bomb has enormous power. Hydrogen has so much power that about 80%, somewhere around 80%, they estimate, of all the universe was created by hydrogen. It's the most abundant atom in the universe, and they think under extreme temperature, time, pressure, heat, all of that, different elements form. Most of them formed out of hydrogen, like gold. It has neutrons in it, and the neutrons they have protons, electrons, neutrons. They have it, but with gold, they base what gold is, or the size of it, by what they call molecular weight. And they do that with any compound you have. You can look at something like aspirin, you can say, what's the molecular weight of it? And what it is all based on the hydrogen atom, which has a molecular weight of 1. So if gold is 800, that means it's 800. One atom of gold is equal to 800 atoms of hydrogen. So it shows you this little thing has a lot of power, and as those components were in space, they just got fused together to form our elements. Now the sun was created, and it has a large core within it, and it's helium and hydrogen. It goes to helium, then releases hydrogen, and then you get your burst of sunlight. It's going back and forth all the time. But as this solar radiation comes down, so does a massive amount of hydrogen with it. And when it hits plants, it's separated off by chlorophyll, and it goes to make different components of the plant. It's changed from solar radiation to chemical, from solar energy to chemical energy within the plants. And then as it goes throughout the process of plants, and also in animals that eat plants, or animals that eat animals, however the system goes, but as it goes through that, this elemental hydrogen is changed into many different types of compounds within your body. So that sounds like a lot of importance right there, and it definitely is. But the greatest thing that I think hydrogen does is it's the number one antioxidant in the universe. It has immense amounts of power. It can get into every single cell. You got 30 or 40 trillion cells in your body, and it'll go into all of them. And when it does, it neutralizes things like serious free radicals and oxidative stress, which is really, oxidative stress is the big one that causes most health problems, aging problems, and disease. And so hydrogen will neutralize that. Now, the other thing it does is, and I think most people, probably scholar consumers, you know that the H pill is designed, has a series of precursors to create NAD plus. And that's the molecule, that's the energy molecule. They call it, at one of the major universities here, the immortality pill with that. And they're trying to make a drug out of it. And they'll maybe get there 10, 15 years from now. But we're already there. We know how to do that. Precursors can do it. We can make the actual compound now, which is really a revolutionary breakthrough. But delivering it's the other thing. But we've got all that solved. We know how to do it. So we're so far ahead of the future that companies aren't going to be able to keep with us on it. But you take this diatomic hydrogen water and you drink it. It's full of oxygen too. And so oxygen, it superoxygenates the cells in your body. Then the hydrogen goes through and it has antioxidant, but it has a huge amount of biological functions that it supports. We have to say support. You can't say does, even though it does. Within our product, we have to say it's support, because our product hasn't been tested, and that's the way that the Ministry of Health, Food and Drug Administration regulate it. So to me, you can support anything, like calcium build or supports strong bones, fish oil is brain food, supports a healthy brain. Well, those are generalities, but what we're talking about with the H pill are specifics of immense power to go in, and the stem cell is the key to who you are. At one time, you're only one stem cell at conception, and so that by the time you're born, you're computer somewhere between size 5-10 trillion cells, many of them stem cells, and you grow to about 18 or 20. And then at that time, they're getting worn out, they're starting to deteriorate, and you start to have the fall off. First 10 years is not so bad. The second 10 years is quite damaging. 30 to 40, you've lost about 60% of your stem cell activity. And when you're 60, you've got about 5% of it left. When you get up in your 70s, 80s, you have almost nothing. And because stem cells are like the chicken that lays the eggs, they go on and they produce huge amounts of new cells, replacement cells. Some are very fast, like skin cells grown and replaced in 1 to 3 months, depending on the damage to the skin. But the cells in the stomach, because of the intense acidity, are replaced every 4 or 5 days. Heart, probably 3 years. So there's a variety of them. But the stem cells, there's 220 different types in your body. And they're for producing new cells that duplicate what's there, like for fingernail, or like for your nose or your skin or eyesight, any of those types of things. So there's something for all of those that are doing it. And when that happens, if you're making less cells than what you're losing, you're in decline, you're in degeneration. So now we're calling this the death of aging. You see, because aging is not a disease, it's a condition, and a condition caused about by decay and degeneration. So therefore, if we can end the decay and increase the regeneration to a level that's far above the number you lose, your degeneration, you're going to build more cells, more body mass, more everything, and you're going to be a bigger, stronger, younger you. Because the ratio of old cells in your body and the numbers of them there it can just blossom, and you start seeing lots of things happening. Sure, we have a lot of wear and tear and things like that, but nature has a way of repairing that. Now science has advanced to the point where we can understand how a lot of that works nutritionally by supplying the proper ingredients, not making medical claims, but making nutritional support claims. We can say some tremendous things and do so. So as the stem cells start replacing all the cells in your body, you have a number of stem cells that start wearing out. They become senescent, or they're in senescence. In other words, they're slowing down, and until they become senescent, that's dormant. That's a very dangerous situation. And just if you're sitting there at 50 years old, I don't know, you're probably down 70, 80% of your stem cell activity. A lot of those have gone dormant. That's why you're having such a tough time getting energy, rebuilding with the strength and all that. Bones are getting brittle, all of that because of lack of stem cell activity. So the stem cells are exhausted because they take a large amount of oxygen and large amount of glucose, which is like gasoline, and it ignites it within the cell and releases energy, just as gasoline in your car engine does. But when that happens, the exhaust from gasoline is quite toxic, and the exhaust from combustion is too. And there's so much of it going on that one cell has about 500,000 oxidative hits every single day. So you have a lot of different types of antioxidants and things like that, especially Spectromax is a great one for that. It covers such a broad spectrum of all the free radicals. That's a group classification for them, but basically oxidizers. But the stem cells are particularly bad because when they become senescent, they let oxidative stress compounds out. And those are the most deadly ones for disease and health. And so rebuilding stem cells before they get to them and are supporting the what we have to say, then you can do something to save them. And they found in studies that older stem cells became indistinguishable from young ones. And even in animal studies, the older animals that they put this type of compound into, they turn around and become indistinguishable from young animals, and they acted the same. Some that weren't mating, we even started to mate again because their body just going back. So all of these things, they've gone through a lot of testing on animals, or up in humans testing, and it looks really great. And so we want to get those stem cells up. But with senescent stem cells, what are we going to do? Well, how would you like to have something that you could take that would support your body's natural mechanism to get rid of the dormant senescent stem cell? And they're in a bud. So as the stem cell is removed, it sprouts up a new one. And that's quite a pleasant thought, because not only are we working with the ones that are young, getting older, now we can take those that are dormant and deadly and releasing all that oxidative stress that's going throughout your body. And we can come in and support the body to get rid of those. And pop, up comes a new stem cell. So you see how important that is. So I'll only talk much about one more product, but that's the H2 stick. It has such an immense amount of power. In our water machines, we were about 0.5 ppm of hydrogen. That's parts per million. So, and then we could go up, depending on the water source, 1.0 to 1.5 ppm. And that was pretty good. In fact, 1.0 is considered really, but it's healthy from 0.5 ppm. But here we've gone through, as we took a look at this, and I realized there's ways that you can create hydrogen. And so, with the help of one of the world's leading hydrogen experts, who he works with me on many things, I set about and I said, here's what I want to do. I know we can create hydrogen out of a lot of things, but not in immense quantity. I want to build an immense dose of diatomic hydrogen in a water. And you want it in a water because hydrogen is a gas and it goes off. And it goes through the plastic bottles, it goes through the water, everything. But it takes a while because it's in a liquid state or a solid state. So we come up with the idea that we would take it and make it into a sachet and a ball powder, and we have many, many different compounds in it. And so when you pour it in, you'll see almost immediately there'll be some like foaming coming up. You want to fill the bottle up to the very top with water. Usually what I do, and I like a smaller bottle for me to drink. What I do is I take a bottle like this and I drain it down a little bit, then I dump the diatomic hydrogen stick into it. When you do, you've got it's easy, because then if it foams, it doesn't come out. So I just dump this stick down into it. Then as it starts, and then slosh it around a little bit so it gets through the system. And then I'll take another bottle, or you can do it with any kind of water, and just pour it in so it comes right up to the very top cap. When you do that, you haven't got headspace, so the hydrogen's not going to go out to it. Now you just let it sit. Give it 10, 15, 20 minutes. And I will tell you, it'll take a bottle like this, it's so flimsy, and it'll make it just solid like glass, because it's splitting the water molecule. And when it splits the water molecule, it's a liquid and it's converted to a gas, and a gas takes up more space than a liquid does. So the bottles will actually expand, and we've got some pictures of even dancing bottles where these bottles are made out of cheap plastic, and that expansion is taking place within it, and it blows the bottom, pushes the bottoms out, and they're not stable, and they start wobbling around as it's getting distorted, and all that power in a product. But then you look at it and you realize that if this is the molecule of life, if this is what comes from the sun with solar radiation that is converted, and all life on Earth is dependent upon it. Without the sun, there would be no life. And so it's all dependent on it. The more we can put it in the cell, the greater the effects we can have. So I just sat down and redesigned one. We've got one right now. We're going to have to, it's actually gone beyond our ability to test it. But with hydrogen, we've got somewhere in the range of 15 to 20 ppm. Compare that with half, 0.5 ppm or 1 ppm. So you can see it's like 35 times or more greater in strength. And when you have it in the bottle, remember this, the longer you leave it, the better it gets, up to about 20 minutes. But 10, 15 minutes, you have a huge amount that's been released. You drink it, down it goes, and we have a pleasant taste. We actually have got a triple berry coming out. Your next shipments, well, your first shipment's there now, but the next shipments that are coming on as we run out of this will be what's called a triple berry, and it's very nice, not heavy but light. But then you can take the diatomic hydrogen water and drink it, and you feel this incredible surge of energy coming up through your body. And it's because the hydrogen goes in as it gets into the cell. You have this NAD that's found in the H pill, and it's going around through it. It gets created, and then it goes up and releases a hydrogen electron, and that creates ATP, which releases elemental hydrogen, which is converted to electrical energy, and that's what runs our body, electrical energy. So all of that came from solar radiation to chemical forms that it goes through and goes into all the different processes, then gets released back into hydrogen, and same as comes from the sun, and you have electrical energy. You have what you call homeostasis, which means we believe that this can give you the optimal amount of energy that your cell is able to handle. And it's just a matter of time rebuilding them, getting them there so they can function. So that's an exciting product to have that. But when hydrogen comes in, it provides it's got lots of electrons. And so it comes through, and studies are showing on the ingredient that when NAD gives off, it's NAD plus. When it gives off the plus, that's a hydrogen electron, and hydrogen, if it's there, will replace it. There's also some other compounds that I found that will also replace that positive charge on it. And so your energy, instead of going around and gone, you have to produce more and go around and gone. We think our theory, we hypothesize, that it can recycle and go round and round and round. And so you get even higher sustained energy levels, but not the kind that you burn out on, like a Red Bull or a Monster drink or something like that. It's not like caffeine. It just, your cells are so full of vitality and energy from this hydrogen that you'll find you won't wear out all day. And I recommend people don't take it before bedtime, because a lot of people, and myself included, I just couldn't sleep for most of the night, and it wasn't anything. I just was so alert. I just couldn't wind down to do it. So I take it a couple of times a day, and I take it first thing in the morning, of course, and then I can take it mid-morning or afternoon, and then it just keeps hitting my body all of the time, working that way. So now with that, I know a lot of you have been asking, when's it going to be there? Well, let me tell you, it is in New Zealand now, and it will be released, I think, sometime next week. We air freighted it down. So this really hot product is yours. Now, there's a couple things to remember. With the H2 stick, it's we're at an artificially lower price. What we have is an introductory price. We're going to let you run on it for quite a few months so that you can build your business up fast, because it's not much money a day to have this kind of power, and people want that. And people like Katie, she can tell you, put it on your skin and watch what happens. It's enormous power with it. So when I get my drink done in the morning, I'll do a bottle and I'll put a little bit out and just rub it all through my skin, all up through there and around. And I tell you what, I've had some crusties here, but not as bad as Doc Fizz, but I've had some, and it's just eliminated them. And so we have a product that is self-evident. You can see it working. When you take the lid off the bottle, you'll hear it. It's almost like carbonation. It's because the pressure of oxygen and hydrogen is so great in there, but it's mixed through the whole water, so you drink it and it takes it all the cells. In fact, you should hydrate faster with that because it goes right to the stomach. You have to get out the other parts of the body. It just penetrates right through. So this sensational product, which doesn't cost much and is the most powerful product based upon the most powerful atom or molecule in the universe, is now here for you. And when you use that with the H-pill and or the H2 stick, you have got 1 and 1 is 1,000. You have enormous amounts of power. Then you have to just go back and decide what else do you want to do. You want to work on the brain? You should. Stem cells can grow and develop, but if it doesn't have telomeres out ahead of it, because telomeres tell a stem cell when to divide. And the shorter they get, the less repetitions. So when you're young, you've got lots of repetitions going on, but as you get older, every time it gives up a new cell, you lose telomere units, so it gets slower, slower, slower. So that's important to build your telomeres so that stem cells can go fast. Now you can do it 2 ways. TSX is blazing fast, but also within brain vitality, there's a telomere support ingredient for long telomeres that's in there. It's not near the power of the TSX, but it does have a positive. You'll be supporting building more than you're losing. You just may not get it out as fast as you do with TSX. But you do a few things like that, then you consider the other things that you want. The triangle of life is such a body balance of all this body chemistry, much of it based upon the power of the hydrogen atom within it. But we're not putting hydrogen in those. They have their own properties. Hydrogen is still the driver in most of those that's happening. So here you said you don't have a network marketing company that has got these products that are out. There's a couple that are being sold from some other suppliers. But then here we come back to where we at. We look at them, and most of them are about 100 to 150 milligrams. The highest I've seen is 250 milligrams from one, and it's only one ingredient. You look at my formulation, they have so many, because I want to support the precursors, the building of as much NAD as possible to bring you to the optimal level and to bring you to homeostasis where your electrical potential is being fully realized. And so that's where we have this powerful product for you. And take it, it's like I told the person, how do you know it's working? And I tell them, well, I didn't notice it at first, but in the second week it did. I started seeing things happen, and the longer it's been, now I got it very heavy. I show this side in gray on this side, and it's almost gone now because of it. And my eyebrows were almost white, and they've come back. It's natural color. My skin quality's improved. My eyesight's improved. My hearing's improved. All of that. I have strength, stamina, energy that I didn't realize I was tapering off when you jump up so fast. And you know what? So here you're sitting. You have the 2 greatest products developed in the history of the world for personal health. In fact, as at Harvard University, they said that the creation of NAD and the discovery of it in the future is going to be looked at with the same importance as the discovery of electricity was. That says a lot. So H-pills, greatest form of the history of human health, nothing can compete with it. But how do you like it? You catch lightning in a bottle. That's what you do when you put hydrogen in that cell too, with all of the components of the H-pill. You have got reactions going on, just like in this bottle are going on. Now they're going on in our cells, and it's just rebuilding, getting stronger, making more of them, and supporting all of that through the precursor. So I've taken up enough of your time today, but that's the idea of what we're working on, or what we have now. So now in Australia, I don't know if you have all the products. Some of them are very difficult, and I will tell you, to get it approved through Australia and the EU and Japan, we haven't got it approved in Japan yet, but in those other countries, the regulations are so stiff, and it isn't just a matter of going through the process. It's finding ways through it and around it that are legal to get it registered. Well, we've done that, and so now we have it registered in Europe, through all of Europe. We have it registered now for sale in Australia. That achievement of just getting it registered, as complex as these ingredients are in the H2 stage, is, and even the H pill, is a biblical proportion. Actually, I wouldn't give up. But people were, everyone else was almost saying, you're not going to be able to do it. And no, I think we can. Fortunately, I've got enough in my mind, and God's blessed me with a very scientific mind, so I'm just automatically figuring these things out anyway. And so it's just come there, and I know it can be done. I just don't know how to do it. And we did prevail, and we found ways of doing it. And now here you have two hottest products in the history of MLM, the two greatest products ever discovered in the history of human health, and you've got them without competition. Tell me that isn't a recipe for success. So what else do you want? You want to rebuild your eyes and keep them? You need strong precursors for your eyes. There's vital vision. There's nothing like it. It's everything that could be done. Brain vitality, all of that. Now we have a skincare line, and for those of you that know the skincare, now we have some extraordinary products, particularly in transfusium and rapid repair. But we're going to make a monumental change right now because these products are so state of the art. We're so much further ahead than anyone's products in the world. And I found discoveries beyond that. And I'm bringing down, modifying its formulations and putting much more power to it. This little ingredient you see I am with my, yes, this is you can see all those file cabinet storage, massive amounts in my computer. This product, I'm going to hold it up so you can't see the label. But I will tell you this product will make skin grow 5 times faster than normal, that ingredient. Now we put it in our product, we can say it supports rapid skin growth or health. We can't say it does it. In the tests on it, yeah, it does it. In my formulation, it takes $2 billion to make the claim in about 10, 15, well, actually close to 15 years. So we're just better. Do you want to wait 15 years? We're better off going ahead with this. And you can see the scientific studies. That's why I'm publishing them. So I'm going to have that, but that's only part of it. Because what I'm discovering more and more. So if I figure out how to get rid of this and support the body in its natural process to get rid of senescent cells, what do you think we could do? And it's through a process called apoptosis. And apoptosis is cellular death. And when a cell goes bad, the apoptosis is created and it dies. And that's what they're trying to get cancer cells to do with the treatments and the medicines and everything to create apoptosis, so it dies. But there are chemical compounds, natural ones, that will actually do that. And so I have found those. And if you can imagine, you've got a certain level of cancer cells in your body, and if it went down a little bit over a period of time, where are you going to be? Instead of just exploding into growth as happens. Well, that's a theory right now. But I'm hot on this one because I think we can do it and do it in short order. The other thing is senescent cells. You can support the body's process that creates apoptosis in senescent, dormant, almost dead stem cells and repopulate it. It'll repopulate itself with this if you have the proper nutrients for it. That's powerful. But one last little thing we've done, I'm going to introduce when I rebuild skincare line. And I know about everything I want to do with it. It's just very complex. This isn't like skincare products you get from any of the major companies that are around. This is the difference between roller skates and the space shuttle, this technology we have. So what I found in research, I didn't find it, but in Harvard Medical School found NAD, and then Mayo Clinic found which is a big research hospital, and the Mayo Clinic found that removing senescence, they say it can lead to immortality. Harvard says the NAD can lead to immortality. They call it the immortality. Well, I don't know if it can or not, but I don't mind growing younger and living an extra 50, 75, or 100 years. Do you? And I think we're right there at that door. And it's not that we're waiting for it open. It is open. Yeah, we'll find greater things, more powerful things and discoveries to do it. But we have the kind of science behind this that now, where most multi-level marketing companies are into momentum based upon making money, it's pretty hard to get products to drive that. That products support it. But now we got products that will drive it. People will want them, and they're reward and return because we're the manufacturer. So we can pass on huge commissions with you and buy very expensive ingredients and use them in large quantities to have products that perform like the world has never seen before. And this is your company. That's what's here. And so what I've found, researchers that found out in skin, listen to this one, ladies, there's a gene and it causes aging. And when that gene is damaged, your skin wrinkles, it sags, it gets crepey, it gets, it starts to deteriorate in a number of different ways. And now they found the gene, and they say if you can silence the gene of aging in the skin, wrinkles will start coming out just by that itself. Well, that sounds pretty remarkable, doesn't it? I know how to do it. And that's a casual thing for me to say, but it's quite a scientific discovery. And I do know how to do it. And I'm going to incorporate that into our skincare products so they have extraordinary power. Not just power, they'll have performance that everything else is just a waste to buy in comparison to what these are. So those are some of the things we're doing. There's a lot more. There's others on the drawing board, but you're growing so fast right now, it's hard to keep with it, but we're working these products down the road or bringing it up. But skincare, you'll see out in a few months. See with this thing. The product for senolytics, like Mayo Clinic discovered. You'll see that out in months. They're one block, but those are gigantic products. And we're going to bring them out, and you will have them alone. And if you learn enough about them, you are dangerous because you can do real damage to anything else that's there. And I'm providing the science with you so you can learn enough about the level that you can present it. People don't want to know all the details, all the features. They want to know the benefits. Well, we're putting out third-party benefits out of clinical studies. Get on Facebook, download all of those that I put on, print them off, store them in your computer, give them to others. Now, if you get a big clinical study, it's that long. I mean, sometimes those things are 30, 40 pages. Read the abstract and the conclusion. Skip everything in between it because they want to publish how they did it. And you get the idea of what it does. And I'll tell you what it is if you look along there and you can figure it out. But you just have to figure out how to make it work. Well, I thank you for your time. I wish I was there. And I'm a lot better fisherman than Doc Fizz is, so something to be more proud of. But anyway, we went fishing once and he caught one. It's the world record for the smallest fish that's ever been caught. My pinky finger is bigger than him. And that is the truth. And he can't lie. He'll tell you about it. It truly happened. That's the only one he caught too. So anyway, but those are other stories and things like that. But this is a fun business. And it's fun when you are the king of the Khyber. And that's what we are. There's nobody like us. There's no compensation plan like us. There's no products like this. The revolutionary science is dynamic beyond even explanation, and yet it exists, and the results are self-evident. And we have what every company would like to have, but they can't afford to do it because they spend so much for management and other commissions, things. They have nothing left for the product. But because we're debt-free, we have this huge manufacturing plant, we can build products that normally would be small, and they can become huge in their formulation. Then we can take additional profit that is made over above that. We take a certain percent to run the company, and then there's an immense amount of it that can be passed on to distributors. And when you do it in multiplication, you have the chance of creating enormous wealth. And I say, and for those of you that do know me, know that with my previous company when I was down there, we created probably hundreds of millionaires around Australia. I now think we could do literally thousands of them. I mean, thousands and thousands. Plus, you're not stuck in Australia. These downlines can go all over the world, and you Aussies are really an international country, so it can spread out to all these different places around. You go to bed at night in the Army to get up on the other end of the world and go to work for you. So it's time to really get your rear into high gear. This is the really big opportunity of a lifetime. Companies just don't get it like this. They can't afford to it. They haven't got the experience. They don't have the drive, the desire, the knowledge to do it. Thank goodness God's blessed me with that. And as the scripture says, under whom much is given, much is expected. And I believe that. And I love helping you to make your lives better. And that's what my life is dedicated to. So I'll look forward to seeing you probably mid-year or so. I'll be down, and then we'll go through. And everything will be added between now and then. You'll be so weak with the power of these products. It's just overwhelming. But you have no competition. Ineffective stuff. Difficult commission plans. Nothing terribly exciting. Okay? And that's not what we've got. If you look at companies that look at Mower, look at Tahitian Noni, look at Zango. You know, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't carry any of the product because the ingredients didn't perform to how they were overhyped, and when people weren't getting results, and then the distributors weren't getting commissions, they just collapsed to nothingness, and yet they're billion-dollar companies. We're structured just the opposite. So we're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger because the products are not hypothetical. They're real. And they're not overhyped. They are overperforming. And that's what you have with this company. So I tell people, this is your company. I work for you. It's developed for you. And I'm spending the rest of my life helping you to be the best that you can be, to have a life that's happier, healthier, and wealthier. So thank you for your time. Doc, I'll turn it back to you if you have any questions or anything.
Yeah, well, you know, Tom, I was just going to first comment that, yeah, I saw your fish too.
No, bigger than that.
But you know, I'm down here, and the name of my tour is The Old Without Age, and I thought, you know, that was a great title, because who wouldn't like to get older and older and older but never show any signs of aging? And that's really what we have with Sizzle, with the products that you've developed and you've given us. We have products that really we can get older, and never really show those signs of aging, never have that arthritis and that Alzheimer's and dementia and all those different things that come with age. And we look at companies like you mentioned, Mayo Clinic. Here they're saying that they're going to become the leader in anti-aging, but yet you've been doing it for over 34 years. You've been doing anti-aging, and all of a sudden you have a new guy on the block, like Mayo Clinic, that says we're going to pop in it.
They're going to do a drug, Doc, and when they do this drug, it's going to take 15 years to get it developed. It'll cost a couple of $1 billion. Do you want to wait 15 years, or do you want something that is as powerful as anything they can develop, and there will be no side effects with ours, and you can have it right now? That's the difference. And so when you talk about aging, you look at it this way. It's not that you're going to get older and live healthier. You're actually going to live longer, not get older, and grow younger. And that's the scenario I think we've designed for these products.
That's right. Yeah. And with the products that you've given us, and I tell people that as they're trying to prevent the aging, the biggest thing is that we know it all costs money. You don't live longer without having to have some extra money in your pocket. And that's the beauty of wrapping this thing up into a network marketing company versus a company like just throwing it into a retail store. People can't make the money to afford to buy it. And that's the beauty of having it in network marketing.
The problem in the retail store, it's like they analyze 200 top selling products in back east in America. Not one of them, this is the FDA and the FTC doing it, not one of the top 200 selling types of products in the marketplace. That's at the very top of them all, not one of them had enough of the active ingredient in it to be considered a therapeutic dose. And some of them had less than 1 part per million, where it would take 500 milligrams to do it, and has less than 1 part per million. So you go and buy it out of the store, you might as well flush most of your money away. There's some things that are okay. Vitamin C is one, but you can't look for the sensational stuff because it's in packaging, advertising, and management and profit. And there's just, we have people come in and ask us to make products all the time. We say, what's your price range? And because they know what they want with it, and we can build them better products if they want them. We don't give them our formulas, but we could, but most of them just want to stay within the price range so they have a marketable base to work with. Mediocre performance and on and on. Anyway, I keep interrupting you.
Oh, that's all right, Tom. You know, I'm down here, and I don't know why, but as I'm traveling around Australia, people actually like you here. Maybe it's because they know you're there, but they actually like you here.
Well, they're going to hate you when you're gone.
But it's a lot of fun. I'll tell you what, it's snowing back home. It's below zero. I get down here, it's 80 degrees, 90 degrees. I just love it. The people are friendly, and nobody wants to age. Nobody wants to get older here any more than they do back at home. So, you know, Katie, I'm going to hand it over to you, and maybe you have a couple things you want to address to Tom before we get off the call here. And Tom, thank you for your time. I'll let Katie maybe.
Great job you're doing. You're helping everybody down there a lot, and we appreciate it.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Tom. Can you hear me, Kurt?
Yep.
Okay, great. Tom, we're really excited that Aaron's coming to do the tour, and we're excited that you mentioned that you'll be coming to Australia. Did you say mid-year potentially? Yeah. So
that shows one thing. We have a very good feelings and belief in the Australian distributors and what they're going to do, because we're now supporting them very strongly.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. I'm sure everyone who's from Australia and hearing that will love to hear it. Anyway, I think that was really the only question I had or comment. So I guess we can wrap it up then.
All right. Well, thanks, Tom. Thanks, everyone, for joining us and being part of it. Thanks to everybody that is coming out. I'm going to be in Sydney on Friday, and then I'll be in the Gold Coast on the 23rd. So if you want to find out more and find out more about the products or the company or the opportunity, just come on out and let's talk.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
See ya.
Thank you.
All right. Good day.
Good day. Good on you.
Good on you.